Jamie and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about shows that I'm so glad I gave a second chance to. So these are shows that I maybe watched like 1 or 2 episodes or however many episodes, didn't really like it, gave up, but then eventually went back to it and absolutely loved it. I'm sure there's many shows that you yourself have, kind of dropped and not really wanted to go back to. So hopefully this may convince you to go back to some shows and maybe give them a second chance to see if you like them. So the first show is something that I have watched recently, and that is Modern Family. And obviously Modern Family is this massive, very popular American sitcom. And for me, when it was kind of airing, it was something that I assumed was your very kind of cringy, cheesy American sitcom with a laugh track. I didn't really know that much about it. Once I found out that it was a mockumentary, and I absolutely love mockumentaries, I was intrigued. So I had seen an episode very long ago. I think it was just something I'd seen on TV. Whatever part of it, I don't know what episode it was, I just wasn't a big fan. I don't know what it was about that particular bit I watched, but I just kind of wrote it off. I didn't like it. But yeah, I found out it was a mockumentary, and then I started seeing clips on social media, I think because it ended recently, and people were just talking about it and posting clips and compilation clips of Hayley's best moments or Gloria's best moments. And yeah, I started watching those clips and I was like, hang on a second, this looks really funny. So I started watching it. It's on Disney Plus. I haven't watched the last 2 series yet because they're not up on Disney Plus. Hopefully they will be there soon. But yeah, so I haven't actually finished it yet. But yeah, I absolutely love it. It's just really good. I highly recommend if you haven't seen it and you are interested in sitcoms. It should have been something that I watched way earlier. And yeah, so I really thoroughly enjoyed it. It was one of those things where I started watching a bit skeptically, but yeah, instantly fell in love with it and watched the whole thing very quickly. I was very annoyed that the last series weren't on Disney Plus. The next one is actually another Disney Plus show, and it is Only Murders in the Building. And I did actually post this on my Instagram. So I started watching the first series when it came out. I think I watched the first 2 episodes and it didn't really catch me. I just wasn't really feeling it. Don't know why. Sometimes that just happens when you start watching shows. It's not what you're wanting in that time. There's been loads of shows that I have gone back to, which I will then get onto later in this video. But this is one of those things. I just wasn't feeling it. And then I just kind of wrote it off. And the second series came out and I started hearing more people talk about it. And I decided I'm going to give it another go. And yeah, absolutely love it. So good. So with Only Murders in the Building, it is this amazingly beautiful New York apartment building. And there are 3 tenants in that building who, there's a murder, and they are all in a elevator or a lift where the murder victim gets out a few hours before his death. And they are all massive fans of true crime podcasts and decide to try and solve it themselves while also documenting that process on a podcast. So yeah, it's very good. It is very funny. It's definitely very draws upon real life things and lots of funny jokes about kind of what the kind of true crime podcasts are like at the moment. And yeah, it's very funny. Really poking fun at a lot of things about internet culture and stuff like that. You've got fandom in there as well, some fans of the podcast, and lots of twists and turns. It's very good. And I think they are doing a 3rd series where they definitely set up a 3rd series at the end of series 2. So yeah, I thought it was very good. It's something that I haven't really seen before. The only kind of not true crime, but crime crossed with comedy that I have seen is Brooklyn Nine-Nine, whereas this is a completely different take on it. And I really like it. I think it does a very good job of mixing the comedy and the murder, very dark nature of a lot of the things that happen in the show very well. So the next one is The Office US. So I had watched the British Office first, which is the original one if you don't know, and then immediately straight after finishing that watched the American one. And I really love the UK one. I think it's fantastic. And if you don't know, the first episode of the US one, and a lot of the times the first series of the US one, is pretty much identical to the first episode of the UK one. And if you've watched videos on my channel before, you know I don't like it when shows that are remakes copy the exact same thing, because it never works as well. It might be funny for people who haven't seen it before, but if you're trying to copy the humour of a different country, of a different culture, then it's never going to completely mesh well. So I think it's better to just take the concept and do your own spin on it, which is what The Office eventually ended up doing. So yeah, I watched the first episode and I was like, oh my god, another rubbish American remake. Ew, I'm not going to watch anymore. And I can't remember what it was that triggered me watching it again. I think it was probably watching clips on YouTube. I think it was the CPR clip, which is, known to be one of the funniest episodes of The Office. So I think it was that clip, and I was like, I've got to give it another go. And again, I still don't really like the first series. It's a lot different and I know a lot of people don't like the first series. I think it's very important and I still watch it, but yeah, it's definitely not as good as what they get into. The next show, which actually links to The Office, is The Good Place. So I actually watched series 1 and 2 of it and absolutely loved it. And then I started watching series 3 and I didn't quite like it as much. And I eventually just dropped it, which is really bad, especially being that kind of into the show. Yeah, I just kind of didn't really feel like, that I was enjoying it very much. So I stopped watching it, and eventually I wanted to rewatch the first series. So I rewatched that because I think that is one of the greatest series of TV ever. I think it's amazingly done. And I just kept watching, and I watched series 3 and I watched series 4, and yeah, I love it. It's so good. I don't know what it was about it that I just didn't. I know it gets even crazier in the later series, so I don't know whether it's that just kind of put me off a bit. I don't know, but I watched it again. I absolutely love it. I've watched it multiple times through and the ending, again, is one of the best endings of a TV show ever. It's so perfect in every way, and you've got that amazing mix of being so emotional that characters are going, that they're leaving, and you're leaving the show like it's ending, but also being so happy because it's just so perfect. It's so right for the characters. I'm very, very annoyed at myself that I didn't just push through it. But again, in a way, it could be good. I might have pushed through it and not wanted to go back to it at all. So yeah, I'm very, very glad I rewatched that one because, yeah, absolutely love The Good Place. I think it's just phenomenal. It's so, so good. So this next one might be quite controversial, but it took me a couple goes to get into Stranger Things. Yeah, I know. I watched the first episode, I think when it was first out, and I just didn't like it. I thought it was... The first episode is quite very like teeny, and I was like, oh, this isn't what I thought it'd be. Like, nah. And I wasn't a massive fan of sci-fi. I'm still not a massive fan of sci-fi. But for me, this was like, okay, so we're sci-fi and we've got like teenagers being annoying. And I didn't really like it at the time. And then when series 3 came out, I think, I had a summer in between uni, in between first and second year of uni, and I had nothing else to do, and I thought, it's got good reviews. I think the third series had just come out, so I was like, I'm going to give it a go. And as expected, it's absolutely amazing. Like, it's just so good, obviously. It's like critically acclaimed for a reason. Yeah, I'm so invested in that show now. I'm so excited for series 5. I thought series 4 was so, so good. Yeah, I absolutely loved the Vecna storyline in the latest series. Yeah, I love it so much. I think it's such a good show. So next up is the Netflix show You. Yeah, I watched the first episode. I think both Joe and Beck annoyed me. So I stopped watching it, and then I got intrigued by the second series with Love, and I thought I'd give it another go. And this is kind of one where... So series 1 I thought was quite good, but with annoying character. Series 2, I quite liked I liked Love, but I didn't think the plot was as good. Third series I thought was very, very good. I really, really liked series 3, and I'm very excited for series 4 because if you don't know, Charlotte Ritchie, who is obviously Alison in Ghosts and has been in loads of other things as well, I absolutely love her, and she is going to be Joe's like love interest in series 4. It's gonna be so good. I'm very, very excited. So yeah, I think this is one that didn't have too much like gap in the middle between me giving up on it and like giving it a second go. But yeah, I think it's such a good show. It's one of those ones where it's like, it's a bit ridiculous a lot of the time, but it's like good ridiculous. And last but not least is The Crown. And yeah, this I watched, 2 or 3 episodes, and I found it so boring. so boring. Yeah, I just did not like it at all. And again, I think it was in lockdown, and yeah, I think it was when the kind of like Diana storyline it kind of started, and I more interested in that than I was anything else. So I thought I would give it another go, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed even the first series, which I thought was very, very boring to start with. And I really, really liked it. I think the mix of it kind of like being fictional but also based on real life people who are still alive now is really intriguing to me. But yeah, I just think it's very well done, and I like kind of like getting a peek into rural life, no matter how ridiculous it is and how much I not really a big fan of the royal family in general, but I like the show. So yeah, that is the end of my list. Those are the shows that I am most glad that I gave a second chance to and got over whatever ridiculousness was going on in my head the first time I tried to watch it. There are other shows that I know I will like when I give them a second go. So, for example, BoJack Horseman. I watched the first episode of that and I didn't really like it, but I've heard so much good stuff about it. I think I will like it once I probably give it once I give it a proper go. Archer, I've never really got into. I think it's because it's the same voice as Bob from Bob's Burgers, where when I watch it, that's just who I see in my head. But yeah, maybe I'll give that another go soon. Again, I've heard just really, really good things about it. And another one that comes to mind is The Fall, which is like a crime drama one, where it's like one cop chasing this like serial killer throughout like 4 series, I think. And I think I will like that as well, because again, it's one of those things that was such a big show when it happened, but I just, missed it, didn't really get into it. Let me know in the comments what shows you gave a second chance to and why you didn't like them to start off with and what changed your mind about it. Because I'll be very interested to know. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a like. It really, really helps the channel, and subscribe if you want to see more videos to do with television. Thank you for watching. Bye!